Hello, everyone. I'm Simon Preston, and welcome back to Reggae Boys Commentary. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video on this channel. As you can see to my right, we have a very special guest with us today. It's none other than Reggae Girls goalkeeper Nicole McClure. An instrumental part she played in helping us get to France back in 2018. That night in Texas will live long in our memories. Nicole, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to finally, be in contact with you and everything. Firstly, how are you? How is your family doing, especially, with COVID and everything happening around the world, really?
Everyone is good. I live in New York, so that was like the nucleus of all of this foolishness in America. So now things are starting to calm down, but we're all good. Everyone's good.
That's good. That's good. And you had a chance to like catch up or keep in touch with family on the island as well?
Yeah, everyone has been fine back there. Some of them actually got an opportunity to come up during COVID to see their immediate family as well. So everyone is all right. Just very fortunate in that respect.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start from the beginning of your journey in a sense. Born in New York, is it your father's side, your mother's side that's from the island, or both?
Both, both. I'm proud to say that both of my parents are very proud Jamaicans. They raised my brother and I very, very Jamaican. So yes, the two of them.
Okay, wonderful. And in terms of your journey in football, did it begin in elementary school, high school, middle school? Where did that journey begin for you?
It started when I was 8 years old. I got a flyer from my elementary school promoting a local club in the area. So I brought it home to my mother and showed it to her, and she wasn't really receptive at first, but I reminded her that the previous year when I spoke to her when I was 7, she said to me, "All right, next year, basically move out of my face, I'm busy," kind of thing. So fast forward till I was 8, I said, "Listen, next year is today. Here's the paper, sign me up." So from then on, here we are. So that was in 1998. So I was turning 8 that year. Or I was turning
Wow,
9 that year. Sorry. Yeah.
quite a
Mhm.
journey it has been. Wow. And from that moment, has it always been you with the gloves between the sticks, or you played in other positions as well?
I feel like with with most goalkeepers, we always start in the field in the field. For me, it was that way as well until one day at training, the coach had everyone rotate as goalkeepers. So you just take 2 shots and then keep it moving. But for me, I I didn't realize 2 shots were up. So I just stayed in the net and continued with with the shots. And I guess from then on the coach was like, all right, you're the keeper now. So from then on it was kind of from the very beginning. I was around 9 years old that time.
Wow. And here you are 2 decades onwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in that sense, from the keeping perspective, would you say the time that you had in university in Hawaii and Florida really you honed your craft in a sense and you got more comfortable in that role?
Yeah, definitely. At the time when I was a little kid, unbeknownst to me, my father was actually a goalkeeper too. He went to when he was at Excelsior. I didn't know that until I was rummaging through the closet at home, and I found a picture of him laying down with his team, and he had on his gear and he looked different from anybody else. So I showed it to him and he said, "Yeah, I was a keeper," but he never told me beforehand. So it was kind of like in my blood. And then from then on, I would go in the backyard, play with my brother and some local friends, and they would just kick balls at me. Even when they were not unavailable, even when they were unavailable, I would go outside and just hone on my craft and kick the ball against the wall, annoy my mother, and just keep on, getting better at being a goalkeeper. Because basketball was my first love. Growing up in New York City, that's like the thing to do. And we had a hoop in the backyard. So I was always very good with my hands from then.
Mm, quite agile you were.
Yeah.
And like the experience of coming into the national team now, you see a lot of girls today, some it takes a long time for them to get their passport, some a couple of weeks, and it's that. What was your experience like in 2009 making your debut? Was the passport process for you like difficult or easy peasy?
From my perspective, I guess it was kind of difficult and easy at the time. because my mother knows quite a few people in Jamaica, or knows people who know people, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I remember when I was with the U20s, we were qualifying for World Cup to play in Mexico. I went to the Justice of the Peace, and they did everything within 3 days. But I wasn't really, I don't know the details of it. I just kind of showed up and took my photo, my passport photo, and got the thing in 3 days. But this was back in 2009.
Yeah.
And of course, I had to renew it a few years later. And even that process was a little more complicated because I wasn't physically in Jamaica at the time. So I just have to credit, God rest her soul, Miss Nelson, for helping out in that respect. So yeah, it was difficult, but also smooth. It was difficult to explain, but thanks to people who have my back and with a lot of patience, I got it done.
Yeah, thankfully, everything just fell into place where that is concerned. So you made a debut for Jamaica at the senior level, yes, 2009, and you did something that's is starting to happen now. More reggae girls are applying their trade in Europe. How did you find that experience? Was it a culture shock being in Europe compared to life in the States and North America as a whole?
Yeah, definitely. My first stint in Europe was in 2012 in Iceland. And as you can imagine, Iceland is way different from America or even Jamaica. So going there, it was a bit of a cultural shock food wise, because their food is a little, it's not as seasoned as what I'm used to. But I remember my father told me, you must walk with your seasoning. I thought he was crazy, but I listened to him and I packed a bunch of seasoning with my clothes, and I was able to cook for myself. But as far as the everything else, people are very, very friendly, a lot different from New York. Very, very welcoming, very warm people, even though they're from Iceland, very, very kind. And I felt very comfortable as well. Never felt out of place, even though I looked different from everyone else, from most people there. But it
Yeah.
was a great experience for sure.
All right. You spoke about time in Iceland, but you had experiences as well in Sweden and Norway and other parts of Europe as a whole. Was there a place that you said, I enjoyed here the most, or every experience was just a learning one for you in that sense?
Well, there's two answers to that question. Off the field, Iceland for sure. That was my best experience because again, the people are so great and the geographic layout of the country is so unique and so cool. I mean, I was able to go hiking in glaciers and sail through glaciers and go into the hot springs and eat different foods and stuff like that. But on the pitch, I would say Sweden. I feel like that was where I was able to develop a lot as a player, and the coaching was very, very good. And I learned a lot how to be a better goalkeeper. So the Sweden and Iceland were the best for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like a good experience where that was concerned. As it relates to the national team, as you know, before 2018 and that experience that night in Frisco, you're part of the squad in the 2014 championship as well, which is also in the States. And you had players that were part of the program too, like Lauren and Sashana, etc. Even though we didn't come out of our group under Marin Gordon, did you feel like something was building with this team, that we're getting some sort of momentum and developing on and going, getting a better nation, you could say?
Definitely. I mean, 2014 will always be my favorite team, hands down.
Really?
I'll be very honest. Yeah, I had a great time. The players there were so charismatic, and I made lifelong friendships with those players. But yeah, we definitely had something going. All we needed was, I would say, a little bit more experience on the coaching staff, just a little bit. Not trying to,
Yeah.
discredit Merrim, but he did the best that he could. But it was just a little, we just needed just a little bit more elevation in that area. But credit to Sidella Marley for getting it all together. And from the moment I met her in her camp, I knew something was going to stay. It's going to be a sustainable program. So from there, I would say, yes, I felt something was going to continue happening thanks to the Bob Marley Foundation.
And you could feel that there was reason for optimism because we took the lead against Mexico, I believe. We're in it against Costa Rica. So it didn't feel like it was a lost cause, even though we didn't come out of the group stages. You know what I mean? It felt
Yeah,
like something was coming. Yeah. Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I felt good afterwards, even though it was disappointing, but I felt like we had something going. We could actually, surprise some people and just become better at our own games. And I feel like with that experience, it created a lot more exposure for a lot of our players because from there on, a lot of teams in Europe were watching, and some of us got bigger contracts or first contracts. So I think that was a great experience for everyone.
And now we fast forward a couple of years later, and you're in a pool of squad that has girls in college, some in their late teens, some in their early 20s, and you're rubbing shoulders with Sydney Schneider, a young, promising goalkeeper as well. What was it like working with her for that tournament also in Texas?
It was a good experience. She learned a lot from me. I learned from her as well. She was young. She was still developing. But it was good. She did her thing. I did mine, and we worked together. We worked really well together in training. I think we both pushed each other to get to where we were.
And in relation to that game against Panama in the third place match, when did you know that you would be coming on for the shootout? Did Busby say go warm up? Did Humenji say go warm up? What was that routine like for you?
I found out as soon when everybody else found out, to be honest with you. Um, I think it was around because we were in overtime at that
Yeah,
time.
when
So
Panama
it
equalized. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it was around the 117th minute or something. Busby looked over to me and said, "Warm up." So I said, "All right." So I took off my coat. It was cold that night. It was around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and it was raining.
Mhm.
So I took off my stuff, put on my gloves, and I literally said to myself, "All right, big man thing now." So I hyped myself up. Then I went to the corner and started warming up, and they subbed me in 119th minute, I think it was. So yeah, it wasn't really planned, but I was prepared because prior to that game, we were working on penalties for after every single training session, and I did really well. And I guess the coaches took note of that and said, okay, to themselves, they said, okay, maybe if it comes down to it, we're gonna put in Nicole, and they did.
Yeah. But they never said to you, "Oh, okay, Nicole, if it goes to penalties, it's you." They never said that to you face to face.
Never, never communication was never delivered.
Well, you know what they say about Jamaicans and last minute, and look what happened.
Yeah, you just have to stay ready. I mean, as a professional, I knew that going in, you just have to wait until your number is called because you never know.
And just before the penalty shootout, what were some of the words that Busby or Menzies said to you as the team got ready to take the field for the five kicks?
Honestly, I don't think they said anything to me. And if they did, I don't remember because I was so locked in. I know I was giving myself some words of encouragement. I wasn't nervous at all. I was just ready and excited and kind of relieved to finally go on and showcase myself. But no, the coaches didn't say anything. I want to say Lauren probably like give me a pat on the back or something, but I
Yeah.
can't even confirm that.
Okay, but I'm sure the preparation was there and knowing the Panamanians, okay, maybe she's better with her right foot or her left foot. So you read the game well. So I'm sure the preparation by the entire support staff helped you to produce those wonderful saves.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, leading up to that match, we worked on penalties, so it wasn't like I was so unprepared because we literally the day before we were doing it. So it was
Yeah,
kind of like muscle memory.
yeah. Well, as you know, Dom Bonflaza got all the credit for scoring the winning one, but you also deserve your praise as well for the two kicks. I'm sure you guys didn't sleep that night, did you, in Texas? It was just one mad party.
Yep, pretty much. But yes, credit to Dom for putting the cherry on top. But yeah, I mean, no sleep, lots of celebrating. My brother was there, so he came to the hotel and celebrated with us in our room, in our the common room, the dining room. Sorry,
Yeah.
and that was really fun. That was oh my gosh, I'll never forget. And then the following day, we all went on our flights to our respective clubs or homes. So that was an interesting travel experience with minimal sleep.
Yeah. And do you remember what it's like coming back to Jamaica for the first time after qualifying? That experience was like for you being toured around the city and the fans and seeing the young girls, getting more involved into football. What that experience was like for you, just seeing the attention that the Reggae girls were getting, you could say.
Oh my gosh, that was one of the best, probably the best experience aside from the two penalty saves of my life. I mean,
Wow.
5 days of celebrating us. being recognized from not only our brothers and sisters in Jamaica, but the government. The prime minister shouted us out. You know, I had a whole gala for us. Like that was such an incredible experience. Little girls and little boys coming up to us asking for our autographs and hugging us, and grown men and women coming up to us saying what an inspiration we are to them. It was humbling. I'll never forget that. That was it was incredible. I can't even really describe it because right now I don't even have the words for it, to be honest with you. But it was
Yeah.
great.
And you mentioned that moment and also the two saves. I'm sure making a World Cup debut against Australia as well would have to be up there in the top three as well. Playing in a World Cup, a dream of every professional footballer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely nervous for that game, I'll be honest. But it was fun. It was surreal. Thousands of people screaming our names, wearing the black, green, and gold. It was, man, it was crazy, to be honest. My mom told me that she cried as she watched us walk out of the tunnel. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, quite an emotional day that was. Did you know? Okay, yeah, Sydney played the first two games. When did you know that you would start the game? Was it the day before or on the day? Nicole, you're in nets.
Well, I was told the day before, but it didn't really
Sink in.
sink in until I actually went out there, because I have been told in the past that you're going to play and then suddenly I get pulled off. So it wasn't until the day of the minutes before the match where the referee comes in and checks us and everything, and there's no turning back from then on. But I was notified the day before from the coaches, well, from Busby at least, that I was going to play, but I didn't really.
Yeah.
You just stayed ready and stayed. You just never know.
Yeah. Okay. And a lot of people have been asking as well, Nicole, a lot of my subscribers, that you're 32. Are you still playing the position that you have at Princeton right now, coaching? Do you still have ambitions of playing? What is next for you in your career, in a sense, your journey, your chapter?
Well, at the moment, I'm no longer with Princeton. I'm. I just love. Thank you, Warren. Um, yeah, that's another game. The Chile match was incredible. Anyway, yeah, I'm no longer with Princeton. I'm not coaching at the college level right now. I'm actually a teacher at a charter school in the Bronx in New York. So I kind of pivoted from coaching into teaching. So that's what's going on with me right now. I'm going into my third week tomorrow. So that's how recent it is. But I have hung up my gloves as a player, yes. But the urge to still play is still there, but not at the level that I want that I was at before.
Okay. I understand. But if you were to, life is unpredictable. If there were an opportunity came to play at a club, even if it was at a semi-pro level, is it something you would consider?
I would consider it for sure. Yes, yes. I would just have to prepare physically and mentally, because it's tough. I've kind of gotten used to the retirement life. Um, but I would consider it because it's still my love, like I'm still very much waking up at 7 a.m. to watch Premier League. It's still
Yeah.
part of my routine.
And besides, 32 is still quite young, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because a lot of people have different opinions about that number, but I agree with you.
Great. Did you have an opportunity to watch the two qualifiers we've played so far against Bermuda and Grenada? Your thoughts about the performances of the team?
I saw parts of it because of technical issues. I was scrambling to find a link. Um, and of course, some of the links that I found were the quality wasn't very good, so I didn't watch full matches. But from the bits that I saw, it was I was I mean, I think that we have a lot of work to do, but it's not the players' fault at all. I think again, it's always a sad story of preparation. If we have adequate preparation, I think we would have had a better showing. But again, that's something that we cannot control. But I was pleased to see a lot of the individual performances. I just wish there was more cohesion, but we need more camps and more all of the stuff that we can't control is what we need. But I'm pleased to know that pleased to have seen that we got over those two humps. So DR and Cayman Islands will be another tough task.
Yeah, definitely tough tasks ahead. And as it relates to the goalkeeping pool, because that is your area, you've seen we've added Rebecca Spencer. We have Sydney already and Yaz in the mix. I just wanted to know your thoughts about the future of these three keepers. Are you happy with this core that we have? Perhaps add more depth to it. Just your thoughts about the trio that we have right now.
Well, I know Leah's pretty well. I'm a huge fan of hers. But as far as the other two, I've never met Rebecca before. And from what I saw, she didn't really have much action. But I have caught some of her club games, and she's pretty decent. So I think that will elevate the goalkeeping pool. Of course, we already know Sydney is very good. So with those three, I think we have a solid foundation, and we will be able to influence and inspire younger goalkeepers, because as we all know, Jamaicans love to score goals, not so much prevent them from happening. So I would love to see a homegrown goalkeeper at the senior level one day, and I hope that with these three, it will inspire that to happen.
Yeah, and just a little bit on Sydney, because you were 22 once. You've been in environments where you might not have had a lot of playing time. She is at Washington Spirit and not getting a lot of playing time. Would you encourage her to be patient, or perhaps look somewhere else if an opportunity presents itself?
I would say a little bit of both, but it depends on how she feels. If she's happy where she is, I think patience is key, and just keep working hard, because, like you said, I have personally been in that position before where just itching to play, but it's just not time yet. But if she's unhappy, then perhaps she should look elsewhere. But if she's willing to put the work in and to remain patient and poised, then the future is bright.
Okay, and finally from my end as well, Nicole, are any plans for you to be on the island quite soon? Because the future of goalkeeping, you as a veteran, we could certainly have like camps or inspire younger girls to take up that position in particular. I mean, Spider could only do so much, but any plans to be on the island soon?
Wow, I haven't seen Spider in so long.
Same,
I would
same
love
character.
to. Same guy, of course.
Yeah,
I haven't been in Jamaica in a while, but I
yeah.
would love to. If I can get some time off of work and go down and work in the youth system, for sure. But as of right now, I don't have anything in the works going down home. But I would love to. I would love to. I mean, yeah. I would love I just right now, no, but I would love to, yes.
Okay, let's see what the future has to hold. Look, Nicole, I really, really appreciate the time. It was really, really good. I enjoy you coming on the show, and we'll be in touch. And all the best to this next chapter as a teacher. May it be successful and bring a lot of success your way.
Thank you. I appreciate